students to come. Let us start our class discussion. Yesterday we have started discussing about the preparation of haloalkanes from the hydrocarbon. Let us move forward and understand it once again. From alkenes by free radical halogenation. Free radical chlorination or bromination of alkanes give a complex mixture of isomeric mono and poly haloalkanes, which is difficult to separate. And as they are difficult to separate, my dear students, it's better that this method is not followed or it is not preferred much. So what we can say is this, that which is difficult to separate as a pure compound. Consequently, the yield of any single compound is low. So as the mixture is difficult to separate, and even the compound what we get is not so big in yield. The yield whatever it is formed is very small, and that is why we do not prefer this method. But still, if we have butane and in the presence of the sunlight or ultraviolet radiation or heat, if it is allowed to react with chlorine, it will give us the two different compound, one chlorobutane and two chlorobutane. We can even get the product formed, or we can even prepare from alkenes. In the 11th standard, we have studied that addition of HX to alkene yield a Markovnikov and anti-Markovnikov product, as well as we have even studied about the Crash effect. So let us revise that concept, that if we have propane and if it is allowed to react with HBr, it will give us one bromopropane and two bromopropane. So from propene, when we get the product, or if propene is allowed to react with hydrohalic acid, we can have two products. Out of this, the 2 bromopropane is the major product, whereas 1 bromopropane is the minor product. 2 bromopropane is known as the Markovnikov product, whereas 1 bromopropane is known as the anti-Markovnikov product. Now here in this reaction, we have either the ionic or heterolytic cleavage kind of mechanism that is being followed. But if in the same reaction, if peroxide is present, the effect is known as the peroxide effect or Crash effect. And then when propene reacts with HBr, it gives us one bromopropane as a major product, whereas 2 bromopropane is a minor product. And here the mechanism that is followed is the free radical mechanism. Dear students, when we study about this kind of reaction, let us have a look at the Markovnikov rule. Halogen from hydrohalic acid is attached to a carbon which is highly derivated. That means it has the least number of hydrogen. This is what we considered as a Markovnikov rule. Now we have the next question to study. Draw the structure of all the 8 structural isomer that have the molecular formula C5H11 Br. So we need to find out the molecular formula for C5H11 Br, the various structure which are isomer of each other. Name each isomer according to the IUPAC system and classify them as a primary, secondary and tertiary bromides. So let us start solving the problem. First we have 1 bromopentane, which is primary. You can see I have given the numbering even so that you can understand the name. The second one is 2 bromopentane, which is secondary. The third one is 3 bromopentane, which is again the secondary, not tertiary. It's a mistake. Please make sure that you study it here, or it is a 2 degree, or it is secondary. Please remember it, that this is secondary because the carbon with which bromine is bonded is again bonded with 2 other carbon, and that is why we call it secondary. Please remember it's a 2 degree or secondary. Then we can move and understand the other ones. Let's move ahead. and see the other then we have 1-bromo-3-methyl butane. You can see that bromine here bonded with carbon, and this carbon is bonded with only one carbon. So it is going to be primary. This is going to be primary, or 1 degree. Same way we can understand for the next one. Here we have 2-bromo-3-methyl butane, which is secondary. You can see that the bromine bonded with the carbon is bonded with two other carbon directly, and that is why it is secondary. Then we can understand 2-bromo-2-methyl butane. You can see here that the bromine is bonded to the carbon. This carbon is bonded with 1, 2, and 3 other carbon directly, and that is why it is a tertiary. This is how my dear students we understand. Then we have 1-bromo-2-methyl butane. You can see that this is 1-bromo-2-methyl butane, where bromine is bonded to the carbon, which is directly bonded to the another single carbon, and that is why it is primary. Then the next one is 1-bromo-2,2-dimethyl propane. Again, you can see that bromine bonded with the carbon. This carbon is bonded directly only with the single carbon, and that is why it is primary. So these are the various isomers that we can find out for C5H11Br, my dear students. Now we have the next question to study about. Let us look at the next question. Identify all the possible monochlorostructural isomer expected to be formed on free radical monochlorination of CH3 twice CH2 CH3. So think if what happens if we do the monochlorination of this compound. In the given molecule, there are 4 different type of hydrogen atoms. Let us look at that. Here in the given compound, there are 4 different type of hydrogen atom replacement is possible. So by doing the replacement of hydrogen atom with the chlorine atom, we will get the monochloro product, and the various 4 monochloro product that we can get are here in front of your screen, my dear students. You can see them well. You can see that the chlorine is bonded to the first carbon, chlorine is bonded to the second carbon, chlorine is bonded to the carbon where the methyl is even bonded, and chlorine is bonded to the another carbon which is even looking like a branch. And so this is how we can give the various names also. This is what it is going to be: 1-chloro-3-methyl butane. This is what it is going to be: 2-chloro-3-methyl butane. This is what it is going to be: 2-chloro-2-methyl butane. This is what it is going to be: 1-chloro-2-ethyl propane. So this is how we can have the various monochloro products, my dear students. It's not difficult to understand, but if you cannot understand anything, you are free to ask in between. You can always stop me and ask me if you have any doubts. Write the products of the following reactions. See, we are given the question. The various questions. Let us start studying their answers. You can see this product is known as styrene. Styrene when reacts with HBr, it gives us the HBr. This according to the Markovnikov rule, this bromine is bonded this bromine will bond to this carbon and will give us the 1-bromo-1-phenyl ethane as a product. This styrene can also be known as the 1-phenyl ethene. So either we call it styrene or we call it 1-phenyl ethene. Whatever we like it, my dear students, that is how we follow it. Again, you can see that we have a compound which is having the phenyl group on a third carbon, and then we have CH2, CH2. We can call this compound as a 3-phenyl prop 1 in. This 3-phenyl prop 1 in, when reacts with hydrogen bromide HBr in the presence of peroxide. Remember, my dear students, when we have peroxide present, there will be peroxide effect or there will be Crash effect, and this bromine would be bonded to the carbon which is having the maximum number of hydrogen or which is least derivated. So the product we get it as a 1-bromo-3-phenyl propane, which is the anti-Markovnikov product. that we have got here. So by understanding the various problems, they are the in-text question, we can revise the anti-Markovnikov and Markovnikov rule or crash effect. Now we'll move to understand the next point, which is known as the preparation of alkyl halides or aryl halides by the addition of halogens. Alkenes or the other unsaturated compounds are tested with the bromine water. We know that unsaturation is being tested with the help of the bromine water. Unsaturated compound decolorize the bromine water. This is the test for the unsaturation. Unsaturated compound decolorize the reddish brown color of bromine water in the presence of CCl4. This is the test for the detection of the unsaturation, my dear students. So when we detect the unsaturation, we generally use this test. This is because when an alkene reacts with bromine water in the presence of CCl4, it yields a vicinal dibromide. You can see here that due to the reaction of the alkene with bromine in the presence of CCl4, 1,2-dibromethane or these two bromine atoms are being added to the neighboring carbon or the carbon which are involved into the double bond, and that is how we get the dibromoethane, which is a vicinal dibromide. So the addition of Br2O in the presence of CCl4 always give us the vicinal product into the alkene. So this is how we can understand the addition of halogen into this. Then we have the new method of preparation, which is known as the halogen exchange. The first halogen exchange that we study is called the Finkelstein reaction. My dear students, this Finkelstein reaction is generally used for the alkyl iodides. Alkyl iodides are often prepared by the reaction of alkyl fluorides or alkyl bromides with NaI in dry acetone. Please remember the reagent should be sodium iodide in dry acetone, which is also known as NaI in dry acetone. The reaction is called the Finkelstein reaction. During the Finkelstein reaction, alkyl halide reacts with sodium iodide. So there will be replacement of X with I and you get Ri and NaX. This NaX is insoluble in acetone, so it is being precipitated, and as the precipitates of NaX takes place, the simple rule of removal of product is being favored. NaX or NaCl or NaBr thus formed are precipitated in dry acetone, which facilitates the forward reaction according to the Le Chatelier's principle, and that is why whenever we use NaI, this NaI is first dissolved into the dry acetone, or we can say that in Finkelstein reaction the medium is maintained, the medium of acetone, so that the product formed can be precipitated NaCl or NaBr, and that is how that can be removed from the reaction mixture, and Le Chatelier, according to Le Chatelier's principle, more and more product can be formed. Then we have the new method for the preparation of fluoride. This method is known as the Schwarz reaction, a very important reaction for the preparation of alkyl fluorides, my dear students. The synthesis of alkyl fluoride is possible by heating alkyl fluoride or alkyl bromide with metallic fluorides such as silver fluoride, mercury fluoride, cobalt fluoride, and antimony fluoride. AgF, Hg2F2, COF2 and SbF3. You can see that I have CH3Br, which reacts with silver fluoride. It will give us CH3F and AgBr. The reaction is termed as a Schwarz reaction. Such reaction is called Schwarz reaction. Dear students, normally the other reactions of fluorides are vigorous, and that is why for the preparation of fluoride, the Schwarz reaction by the halogen exchange is preferred a lot. Now we'll move to the next kind of next point for this chapter, my dear students, and let us study the preparation of haloarenes. So from hydrocarbon by the electrophilic substitution, we can prepare haloarenes. Haloarenes are the compounds which are having the aromatic ring as well as halogen. Aryl chlorides and bromides can be easily prepared by electrophilic substitution of arenes with chlorine and bromine. respectively in the presence of Lewis acid such as iron or iron 3 chloride. So you can easily see, my dear students, if we have a toluene, toluene is allowed to react with the halogen, that can be chlorine or bromine, so it can be Cl2 or Br2. In the presence of iron catalyst, light should not be present, and then we can get orthohalotoluene or para-halotoluene. Remember, my dear students, the ortho and para isomer can be easily separated as they have the large difference in their melting point. So this orthohalotoluene and para-halotoluene can be easily separated from each other with the help of their boiling or distillation, you can say. So with the help of distillation, we can easily separate them. Here there is a large difference in their melting point. So instead of distillation, we should use the process of melting. A reaction with iodine is reversible in nature, and so to get a better yield, presence of oxidizing agents are required. So here this X2, we generally do not prefer I2. But if we want to prepare the aryl iodide, then we will have to take some precaution. So to prepare aryl iodide, we have to, or we should always keep the presence of HNO3 or HiO4 here. This HNO3 or HiO4 oxidize the Hi produced during the reaction of the substitution, and that is why, according to Le Chatelier principle, more and more iodide, more and more aryl iodide can be prepared. Fluoro compounds are not prepared by this method due to the high reactivity of fluorine. So aryl fluorides are not prepared by this method. Let us look at some more example. See, if we have benzene and if we allow it to react with FeBr3 in the presence of Br2, we get bromobenzene and HBr. If we have a benzene and if we allow it to react with Cl2 in the presence of FeCl3, we can again get chlorobenzene and HCl. So please remember this method for the preparation of the haloarenes. Then we are going to study about the preparation using the diazonium salts. So when a primary aromatic amine dissolved or suspended in a cold aqueous mineral acid and then treated with the sodium nitrite NaNO2, a diazonium salt is produced. Let me repeat it, my dear students, for you, that if you have a primary amine, if you allow it to react, if you first suspend it into the hydrochloric acid, and then if you add NaNO2, which is sodium nitrite, at 273 to 278 Kelvin or 0 to 5 degrees centigrade temperature, you will get a compound which is known as the, or you will get an intermediate which is known as the benzene diazonium halide. Benzene diazonium halide is not so stable. It is an intermediate and it reacts with, or it is highly reactive. So it reacts with the other compound and gives us the various products. Let us look at the desired product that we are going to study about. Mixing the solution of freshly prepared diazonium salt. Now this freshly prepared diazonium salt, we are going to mix it. So mixing the freshly prepared diazonium salt, mixing the solution of freshly prepared diazonium salt with cuprous chloride Cu2Cl2 or cuprous bromide Cu2Br2 result in the replacement of diazonium group, that is N2 group, by Cl or Br. Look that this diazonium group N2 plus Cl minus is replaced by Cl or Br, and if the benzene diazonium chloride is allowed to react with CH2Cl2, we get chlorobenzene. If benzene diazonium chloride is allowed to react with Cu2Br2, we get bromobenzene. Replacement of the diazonium group by iodine does not require the presence of cuprous halide, that means cuprous iodide, but it is done simply by shaking the diazonium salt with the potassium iodide. You can see that diazonium chloride, when reacts with Ki, it simply gives us the iodobenzene. So this is how, my dear students, we understand about the preparation of aryl halides. Now, this is one very important thing which we have missed, my dear student, here, is that this particular process of getting the chlorobenzene, bromobenzene or iodobenzene by the use of the uh, cuprous chloride or cuprous bromide with the help of the benzene diazonium chloride is generally known as the Sand-Meyers reaction. Please remember, my dear students, this is what it is known as the Sand-Meyers reaction. So this reaction is actually known as the Sand-Meyers reaction. Please remember that this kind of reaction is a name reaction, and this reaction is known as the Sand-Meyers reaction. So just now whatever we have studied is known as the Sand-Meyers reaction. Now to whatever we have studied, let us revise it with a few questions. Why is sulfuric acid not used during the reaction of alcohol with Ki? You know, we prepare the alkyl halide from alcohol. When we want to prepare an alkyl iodide, we should not use sulfuric acid here with the Ki. So what is the reason why we should not use sulfuric acid? So the first reason, my dear student, is sulfuric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. When used along with the potassium iodide, it oxidizes the potassium iodide to iodine, as well as hydrogen iodide also to the iodine. So if you take potassium iodide or with the help of the potassium iodide in the reaction, if hydrogen iodide is produced, both this potassium iodide and hydrogen iodide are being converted to iodine with the help of the H2SO4. In short, it oxidizes the iodide ion to I2, be it present into the potassium iodide or if it is present into the hydrogen iodide. Both these iodide are converted to I2. You can see that sulfuric acid reacts with potassium iodide and produce hydrogen iodide. This hydrogen iodide again reacts with sulfuric acid and we get iodine. So if we have potassium iodide, they are first converted to hydrogen iodide, but all the hydrogen iodide will be converted to I2. So we cannot use sulfuric acid with potassium iodide. So as shown above, iodide ions from Ki or Hi need to replace OH. Actually, these iodide ions have to replace OH, but they are converted into iodine. So we do not get the desired alkyl iodide as a product. And that is why we should avoid using the sulfuric acid with potassium iodide for the preparation of alkyl iodide, this reaction. Then we have the next question. Write the structures of the different dihalogen derivatives of propane. Suppose we have propane. So from propane, what various dihalogen compounds we can get? Four dihalogen derivatives we can get from propane. First one is CH3, CH2, CHCl2. Both the chlorine are present on first carbon. CH3, CCl2, CH3. Both the chlorine are present on second carbon. Third, CH3, CHCl, CH2Cl. One chlorine is present on first carbon, one chlorine is present on second carbon. Cl, CH2, CH2, CH2Cl. One chlorine is present on first carbon, second chlorine is present on third carbon. The first two compounds are known as the geminal dihalide. The second compound is known as the vicinal dihalide. The third compound is known as terminal dihalide. Then we have the next question. Among the isomeric alkanes of formula C5H12, identify the one that on photochemical chlorination yield a single monochloride. You can see here, this is neopentane. If you allow it to react with chlorine, chlorine is joined at any of these four CH3 and ultimately will give us the product 1-chloro-2,2-dimethyl propane this way. So even if chlorine combined with this carbon, this carbon, this or this carbon, it will definitely give us the same product, and that is why neopentane, if we perform the free radical chlorination of neopentane, we will get only single product. Then we have the next one, 3 isomeric monochloride. So which pentane will give us the 3 isomeric monochloride? normal pentane will give us the 3 isomeric monochloride. So this is your normal pentane, CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. And if the chlorination of this normal pentane takes place, we may get 1 chloropentane, 2 chloropentane and 3 chloropentane as the product. So these three are the 3 isomeric product. Now we want what kind of compound will give us the 4 isomeric monochloro compound. So the answer is isopentane. You can see the structure of isopentane. This isopentane will give us the 4 isomeric product. The first isomeric product would be 1-chloro 3-methyl butane. You can see this is 1-chloro 3-methyl butane. Second isomeric product will be 2-chloro 3-methyl butane. This is 2-chloro and 3-methyl butane. Then we have the next one, which is 2-chloro 2-methyl butane. You can see this is 2-chloro on the second. This is first carbon. This is second carbon. So 2-chloro and 2-methyl butane. And the last one would be, this chlorine is bonded to. So this is first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon. It is a 1-chloro 2-methyl butane. 1-chloro 2-methyl butane. So these are the 4 various products that is possible from the isopentane. This isopentane is methyl butane. Yes, please. Hello, Mayur Vasaya, do you have any question to ask? Nothing. You are just disturbing. Okay.
No, sir.
मयूर आपको कुछ पूछना है बेटा? ठीक है. Draw the
No,
structure.
sir.
Draw the structures of the major monochloro or halochloro product in each of the following. So we need to draw the structures of the various monochloro compound. We just need to get the answer. Suppose, see the red pen, whatever I have written, it is the question. So left side is your question and right side, whatever I have written after arrow is the answer. Suppose you have cyclohexanol. If it reacts with SOCl2, you will get a chlorocyclohexane. Suppose you have this compound para-nitro ethyl benzene. If it reacts with Br2 and will follow the free radical mechanism. So the Br would be bonded to the first carbon, which is bonded to the phenyl group. This is what it happens, or this is what it can be explained by the stability of the free radical. The carbon which is directly bonded to the phenyl group, if it forms the free radical, then this free radical is going to be more stable, and with this stable free radical, bromine combined with it. So we get 1 bromo 1 nitrophenyl, 1 bromo 1 nitrophenyl ethane. That is what it is, the product. Then we have the next question. We have a compound which is having benzene ring. In the para position, we have OH group, and we also have a CH2OH group here. So what name, if you want to give, we will give it name as a 1-hydroxyphenyl methanol. The name we should give it as a 1-hydroxyphenyl methanol. If it is allowed to react with HCl, and if we heat it, we will get the 1-hydroxyphenyl chloromethane. Remember, the reaction will take place on CH2, not on the phenyl ring. Then if we have a double bond CH3, see, we have a cyclohexene bonded with the CH3. If we add HI, then iodine, like this hydrogen as well as iodine, will be added into this compound. Iodine will be bonded to this carbon, whereas hydrogen will be added to this compound. Now the question arises, why iodine here? Iodine here is added because of the Markovnikov product. This carbon will have no hydrogen, so that is why the negative part of HI will be added to